Yeah, indeed. In many ways, simply because of the geography of the Royal Mile. I mean, anyone who's been to Edinburgh will know very well it's not particularly wide. It's a cobbled street. And so in many regards, of course, you know, there simply isn't the room in many ways to have a very, very grand procession down from the palace here along that Royal Mile to St Giles's Cathedral. But it will be a very sombre and solemn occasion, not least of all because for many people, for the thousands that have been gathering really since the early hours of this morning, it will be a moment for them to see the Queen's coffin and to see senior members of the royal family, including His Majesty the King. We're also expecting Prince Andrew, along with the Earl and Countess of Wessex to be there, and indeed the Princess Royal, Princess Anne, to follow that coffin as it makes its way to St Giles's Cathedral. Just to say though, of course, His Majesty the King is in Hollywood Palace behind me. The Royal Standard actually mark is flying above the palace, and that is a sign that he is in residence. He's just finished the keys ceremony that took place, the ceremony of the keys inside the palace, where he was essentially handed the keys to Edinburgh. But really, it is in about 20 minutes' time. That is when the focus is going to shift to that public procession down the Royal Mile to St Giles Cathedral, and then at 3 p.m. we're expecting a ceremony to begin, a ceremony of celebration for Her Majesty the Queen. Yes, a chance to pay tribute, yes, a chance to remember, but also to celebrate the life of Britain's longest serving monarch, 70 years on the throne, an icon not just in this country, not just here in Scotland or across the UK, but indeed across the world.
Give us an idea about the service then when the cortege actually arrives at St Giles's Cathedral. Do we know what the nature of that service will be?
Well, in many ways, of course, it is going to be a religious service, you know, led by senior religious figures here in Scotland. But as I say, though, it is not simply going to be a chance for people to remember and to pay tribute to Her Majesty the Queen, but it's also a chance, as I say, to celebrate her life. And we are expecting that to last for around an hour mark, when we'll hear from, as I say, various religious leaders here in Scotland. We all know that the Queen was immensely proud to be not just the head of the state, but also be the head of the Church in England and indeed here in Scotland. And she was also deeply religious, a deeply Christian person. That was reflected, wasn't it? Time and time again, we saw in those Christmas messages she talked about her deep Christian faith, about how much it mattered. Many say that you found that in how she carried out her role as the head of state, as someone who was forgiving, someone who believed in fairness, someone who believed in some deep traditional Christian values. And then at 4 o'clock we're expecting her body to lie in rest here at St Giles Cathedral, and that will give the members of the public, many of them, as I say, who've been here all day, to queue up, to line up, to pass by that coffin, and to remember, to pause and to reflect on what's been an incredible life.